Yorgos Lanthimos' dystopian comedy drama in which single people are taken to a hotel where they must find a romantic partner in 45 days or face being turned into an animal is a dark but side-splittingly hilarious satirical mirror into our society's obsession in wedging into a specific and rigid set of rules, regardless of how preposterous they are. We can all agree that we do many things, even on a daily basis, that we don't want to be doing, and yet we still do it because it is the social norm, it is the cultural pressures that we are subjected to. The Lobster tackles one such area of our society, romantic relationships, and how we play by the rules and how people often behave in order to fit into the established order of things. It is a delightfully weird film, full of more and more absurdities as the film goes on, and as it does so, it digs its claws in you, and I found myself really not wanting it to end, always the mark of a great film. One of the first things you notice about The Lobster is the blunt, deadpan, almost cynical and nihilistic humour etched into almost every single frame. Characters say the craziest things but deliver it in such a straight-laced way, so as a matter-of-factly, and conversation subjects we might see as taboo are the social norm in this society. And it had me laughing my arse off so many times. It's by far the funniest film I've seen in the last year or two. All the actors are on point, everyone is in on the joke. Colin Farrell is our protagonist, and he is as good as he was in The Outstanding in Bruges and delivers an awkward and offbeat performance as divorced architect David, and playing off him are the likes of Rachel Weisz, John C. Reilly and Olivia Colman. It's like the film is taking the piss out of the characters, or at the very least taking the piss out of us and the society we live in through these characters. I was getting some heavy Barry Lyndon vibes from the picture, from its tone. That was another film where I thought it was like the director was trying to show just how stupid all these customs and rules were that were in place in that society. Farrell's time at the hotel is coming to an end, and in hastiness strategically decides to pair up with a creepy, heartless woman who is said to be completely without feeling. It's a fine commentary on how often desperate people who are reeling after a breakup or are in fear of ending up alone convince themselves to settle for whomever for completely implausible reasons. The hotel has a crazy set of rules in place. Rules that don't seem so crazy when you link them to our world, like the fact that successful couples who are experiencing arguing and quarrelling in their relationships are assigned children to solve the problem. And how often have we seen cases in people's lives, even our own, where the troubles of downward spiraling couples are masked or ignored by them because they share children? At times the film comes off as an anti-advertisement for marriage and companionship. The heartless woman is one of the most interesting characters in the film. She's the hotel's longest serving guest, being unable to find a mate and extending her stay by shooting down single people who are let loose into the woods, one of the hotel's weird sporting activities. She is pretty scary, but perhaps in a weird way, perhaps she's the only character at peace with herself. After all, she's aloof all the time and makes no attempts at talking to people. Maybe she just isn't interested in finding a mate. Maybe this limbo, along with its free drinks and hot tub, is all she needs. Or perhaps she's been in the game for so long that she's become numb to the whole thing. Who knows? After the film pokes fun at partnerships, which it treats as a commodity more than anything else, Farrell escapes and finds a ragtag group of fellow escapees in the woods, the leader of which invites him into their group. But the irony is that there's so many rules, mainly centered on not being allowed to have a romantic partner, in this rebellion that Farrell is stuck yet again, and his position is made even more complicated that he and Rachel Weisz's character form an interest with each other. It's a pessimistic loop, a cynical paradox of conformity. Farrell rebelled, and he ended up in a rebellious group, but the rebellious group, the counterculture, the anti-establishment, has so many rules that limit him that he ends up being just as much of a prisoner as he was in the hotel, the mainstream culture. It kind of reminds me of a movie idea I had in my head in the shower or the toilet, wherever, where freedom-loving rebellion overthrows an evil bureaucratic government, and after doing so they put rules into place to form structure and order. But ironically, in order to enforce the order, they end up eventually just like the original evil government. Had the woods folk took over the hotel, I can see this exact scenario playing out. The film does indeed have something to say about the sheep or herd mentality. I mean, has anyone in the film's universe even questioned whether they actually do turn you into an animal after 45 days and don't just outright kill you? In the second half of the film, Farrell spends more time with the rebels, and it's here where the anti-partnership propaganda, shall we call it, flips, and through the handicapping of a character and another's defiance in taking care of said character, it's almost like the film is saying, hey, maybe being alone isn't the answer. Maybe if it's organic and real, not forced, partnership can be a beautiful thing. Where before it mocked people's need to be together, and the second half of the film was now mocking those who feel the need to be independent just as mercilessly. I really want to talk about the fantastic ambiguous ending, but seeing as though that would delve into spoiler territory, I think I'll leave it there for now. I'm really glad I saw The Lobster. It was an absolute laugh out loud riot, a bizarre and insane screwball comedy, but rich, intelligent, and it does leave you thinking. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.